In this session, I'll try to explain how to use Language Studio to demonstrate a couple of things. The first one is going to be about conversational language. So to use the Azure Language Service to set up some question and answer service based on like frequently asked questions. So we have a sample here about a travel service. So if we have some common question and answers, we can list them in a document or export them to boom from our FAQ website, and then upload them to the knowledge base and create a language model. The other one is to use a conversational model. So which is this is about to divide the conversation into based on some entities and utterances. So when you say something, it will respond to your intent. So those are the two things we're going to discuss in this session. In this video, I'll try to demonstrate how to build a bot with a question and answer, an existing question and answer, but obviously this can be done in any other format. I have an example that's provided by Azure. So for this service, we create a language studio. For the language studio, we need to create a resource. The the language service. So language service. So I'm going to use only the Azure. So language service. So in this additional feature, I'm going to just click create. On here, and instead of the usual default values, which is sentiment analysis, key phrase, all these things are very good. Conversational language understanding. I also want to include a question, a custom question answering. So I'm going to select this and then click continue. So here I'm going to use my existing group, and I'm going to use the region close to me, and I will say question answer bot. The pricing. So here there's a different pricing. So for now, I'll just put S1. So you 1K calls per minute. The free one is like you have to like wait, I think 30 days, which is a bit, too long. So you can look at the full pricing here. I'm sure it's getting more expensive. The standard one, this is a 536 free per month. Then obviously, it becomes £2, £3, all these things that you can take into consideration. So for now, I'll use this one. And then for question and answering, I'm going to use UK. So it'll be faster and closer. And the search is F3. So this is the top one. I know it's not the top one actually, but it's free. So I'm going to use that for demonstration purposes. So once I have done that, I have to kind of check the box to agree with everything. And then I create the service. So once it's created, obviously most services like they need a studio. They're like the machine language has machine language studio, the language studio, the computer vision studio. So for this one, we need to use a language Azure Studio, right? So let's go to the resource and let's open the studio. So we go to the language studio. So for this one, it's going to use the same Azure subscription. So I'm going to sign in. I think I have an existing one already. I've used it before. So here is the welcome page. You have to choose a resource. So we're going to use the default directory, obviously our subscription, and it's a language, the question and answer. So the one I just created, the standard one, is enabled. So I selected that. And once I've done that, I'm going to create a new one. Create new. So I'm going to create a new custom question answering. And then here, I'll use a custom question answering. I want to select the language, yeah, when I create it, or you can set an existing one. And then here, for now, this is an example one. So I'm going to name it as a travel agent, travel question and answer. So this is a support conversational AI for travel service. This is more for travel agents, like when is my destination, what time. We will going to build some question and answers, and then we use that for so use English. The default one, no answer found. So whenever someone asks something, we say no answer found. So we have to always specify this is for you can't answer everything. So once we have done that, we create the project. So this is a project. Yeah, got it. Then we're going to add a resource. So we're going to add a resource from a URL because I already have an example URL here. This is a questions, which is an example one, like why Margis travel, why, what service do you provide, what destination do you offer. So this is a list of questions. Add a URL. This is a URL. I think the name of the travel agent is Margis knowledge base. Yeah, and auto detect, add all. So once we add all, and then we have to expand, edit the knowledge base. And here, we're going to add more question and answers. Got it. Come on. So let me add a few questions here. So if I say hello, for example, and then the answer is hi, and then I can add a few more. So people can ask questions differently. So what if you don't want to repeat every question? So you can add an alternative and add. So maybe someone may not always say hello, so I might say hi. Yeah, the same thing is going to be returned. So other than the whatever we compiled, we can add more questions here. Let me add another interesting question. So if someone says like, where is the, or what, someone asks what are the tourist locations in London, the answer could be Buckingham Palace, London Eye. And if you think someone is going to ask this question in a different way, that's also the answer. So once we have done that, we save. Okay, so now let's test by asking question. So if I say, for example, hi, it will send hi. And then if I say hi, yeah, no answer found because I didn't say it. So if I say what are the tourist locations in London, yeah, Buckingham Palace. So if we use the alternative one, so this shows that it is the knowledge base being accessed. So from the URL, from the questions here, so we can pick one of them. So how can I book a flight? I pick one question here, then it would read from the list of answers. So here you go. How can I book? Yeah, even this question somehow you can cancel a flight based on the website. So it's returning something. And then you can see this answer, our agents can help you, comes from here. So we need to deploy this to a service. So to deploy, we click on deploy. There you go, deploy. And then we create a bot from here. So I don't think it's taking a lot of time to deploy the bot, but you get the idea that it's just a conversation based on frequently asked questions. And I try to edit some of the questions so you can still import all these questions, also add your own question. For example, here added something like what is the most touristic place in London, and also added an alternative phrasing like what's the most touristic place in London. So if you the bot would interact and use this knowledge base to answer some questions. I think you don't have to even, if I say what is the most characteristic, it would, I think, automatically fill in the blanks. It would answer. So it's more intelligent. So I'll leave this here and then go to the second application of Language Studio, which is about conversation. So the conversation is a model where you can set up some commands to respond. So for this one, we can create a language model. Maybe let's create a new one. So I'll create a new one here. And we generate a conversational language understanding. So this is more, natural language processing side of Azure. It has different, machine language, computer vision, natural language processing, and then conversational AI. We didn't take the computer vision. It's very similar to what you expect. Like it would identify, images in a box, and also classify whether it's, I don't know, it's a car or a fruit or something like that. So it's the same training model but using images. So I'll continue to create this one, the default one, and here I'll make it more. I'll just use UK and conversational language one. I usually put a number. So I'll use the free one, or this one maybe. And then you agree to the terms and conditions, and then you create language. Great. So we're going to go to the language studio. And here we create a new one. We already have a question and answer. Let's ignore that. And in this, instead of before we had question and answer, now we're going to have conversational language understanding. And here we're going to take conversational lang. In the US, UK, I'm going to use the UK utterance, not multiple. So I'm going to make it simple home automation, like turn the light off, turn the light on, that kind of. And then I'll create this. So once I create this, then I'll define the intents and add the levels. So I'm going to create here. So what's the intent? So if you're in home automation, you are going to say, oh, I want to say switch on. And then you add an intent here. And you select the switch on. And then we're going to have, skip all. So we're going to select the intent and then write the utterance. So we want this one. So when I say turn the light on, what I am associating that utterance is with the intent of switching on. So that's one. And then we can add more. So what else can I put? Can say put the fan on instead of switch the light on, turn the light on, I might say switch the light on. I might say instead of the fan, put the fan on. I might say turn the fan on. Switch the light on, put the fan on, turn the fan on, turn the light on. That's just enough. So then once we have done that, so we're going to add some entities associated with the intent. So one level we can add here is obviously a device. We turn in the device on, isn't it? So device. So we can see here different lists. So add. So I added a device. Then here we have to associate the words, the keywords here, for example, the fan, and then we associate it as a device. And here, when we see a fan or a light, is a device. A fan here is a device. It's a light. So this is how we build up, the different devices. So we add another one here in the schema definition, and then we add the other one, which is once you turn it on, you need to turn it off. And we select the off, and we select off, and then we write here the words like switch off fan. Put the fan off. Put the light off. Turn off the light. Switch. I think this is enough. The fan off. This is how you build a language model where you have different combinations, and then you select the same one, the fan here, associated with the entity. The light here, device. The light, whenever you see light, so you have to be very careful here. If you have a different meaning for the light, this is where you select more than, I think, one entity. And then the fan here, associated with device. So we selected all of them, and then we save the changes. So let's train the job. So let's start a job, train a new model. Switch on off. So we're going to use a standard mode. We split the automatically 80-20. That seems good enough. So this is a similar approach of training a model. So we're going to use 80% to train and then 20% to validate our model. Training succeeded. Okay, once we train our model, then we deploy our deployment, and then switch on off deploy, and then the model is switch on off. region. Uh, okay, for now, I think I used a US one for the previous session. So this is for testing purpose, so I'll deploy it there. So let's test the deployment. We test the deployment by clicking test deployment, and then we select a message, and then I put here, put the fan on, run. So as you can see here, when I say that, my intent is confidence 100% and the device is a fan. So we're talking about the fan. And you can see it understood what I mean by that. And then if I say switch the light on, so he knows I'm talking about switching on, and the device is associated with the light. If I say fan off, that would be a different device and a confidence percent of 96.32. So maybe my language is not exactly like that. So the less I am associating with the utterances, then the confidence goes a little bit down. So if I say something like, I don't know, switch the candle on and run this test, it will be less. It is on, the action is understood, and the device is candle. So I think it is using its own built-in language model to fill in the gaps. So this is how you use conversational language to test using Language Studio. I hope this is a good insight into Azure language and natural language processing. Thank you.